Thank you all for taking the time to be here for this presentation on Introduction to Risk Control, Plan and Safety Controls. The topics covered in this presentation include workplace health and safety legislation in Queensland, the agency's commitment to ethical standards, the agency's organisation and how safety responsibilities are represented in it, examples of risk and what control measures are to be implemented, how staff are going to be involved and how feedback is going to be achieved. There will be opportunity for any questions at the end of the presentation. Workplace health and safety legislation in Queensland. The relevant state legislation in Queensland is as follows: Workplace Health and Safety Act, the primary legislation; Work Health and Safety Regulation 2011, the regulation. These codes of conduct are supported by the Fair Work Act 2009, the Privacy Act 1988, Prosecution Guidelines, National Compliance and Enforcement Policy, Work Cover, the Workers' Compensation Insurance Scheme. The Workplace Health and Safety Act aims to protect the health and safety of workers and other people by eliminating or minimising risks arising from work or workplaces, ensure fair and effective representation, consultation and cooperation to address and resolve health and safety issues in the workplace, encourage unions and employer organisations to take a constructive role in improving work health and safety practices, assisting businesses and workers to achieve a healthier and safer working environment, promote information, education and training on work health and safety, provide effective compliance and enforcement measures, deliver continuous improvement and progressively higher standards of work health and safety. Agencies can approach the problem thoughtfully and responsibly by implementing policies and controls that reduce risk to workers that have to be off-site or on their own when performing their job role. These might include training, which is ensuring all staff are fully trained before they carry out any off-site work. Off-site risks, having procedures for capturing the risks associated with any particular off-site location, such as residential premises. Some questions to consider include: who is attending the appraisal? How experienced are they? Who else is anticipated to be at the event? Do we already know the other people attending or not? Is there anything about the people that might indicate a risk to personal safety? Is the event in a public place or private? If private, is there any apparent risk such as building on-site or land in an isolated rural place or an apartment in a known high crime area? Policies for events, minimum number of staff guidelines, for example, a 2-person rule for inspections and appraisals if the vendor is not yet known to the agency, minimum number of staff at auctions, etc. Time management, communications and diary procedures. This might include the use of shared diaries, time logging for all off-site events. Policies about hours during which events are attended, for example, business hours Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 6 p.m, etc. Who should be notified of off-site visits? Policies for conducting a fair number of visits off-site, as hurrying between meetings off-site increases risk to lone workers. Is someone on duty for any issues? For example, if an agency has a high number of Saturday inspections, maybe a further member of staff needs to be responsible for safety management. Procedures for checking in on lone staff randomly at high risk or potentially all off-site scenarios. Having confirmation messages from staff as they arrive at an off-site event and then leave the event. Policies on personal safety, access to PPE such as personal alarms, walkie-talkies or other agency provider communication devices. This might also include an agent's using personal applications that are designed for mobiles that can schedule alerts, track phones, and instigate video and audio capture in response to mobile phone behaviour and prompts. Agency office lockup procedures, workplace lockup procedures including parking areas, doors, security doors, toilets, safes, keys. Checklist for lockup procedures. Approve last people in the list. For example, who is allowed to be the last person in and who is allowed to be on site on their own. Emergency procedures for off-site and lone staff, including after hours, contact information, and what to do in the event of a medical emergency or other incident. The agency organisation and how safety responsibilities are represented in it. Managers, staff and team members are responsible for their own safety and well-being as well as that of their co-workers. Safety is everyone's job in the workplace. Management has the direct responsibility of training all staff members in risk management procedures, anticipating possible causes of illness, injury or accidents and minimising these, and undertaking prompt action to remove any hazards that may cause a risk to the employees and the company. A person conducting a business or undertaking PCBU alone or with others, whether or not for profit or gain. A PCBU can be a sole trader, for example, a self-employed person, each partner within a partnership, company, unincorporated association or government department of public authority, including a municipal council. An officer of the PCBU can be anyone in your organisation, and they may also be convicted or found guilty of an offence under the Act if they do not adhere to workplace health and safety regulations or show negligence when it comes to safety issues and matter. An officer of the PCBU has a duty to apply due diligence to workplace health and safety matters. This means that they should acquire up-to-date workplace health and safety information, understand implications in the context of the business, ensure that the PCBU has appropriate information, and ensure that the PCBU has implemented and communicated procedures and policies concerning workplace health and safety. In a property industry context, a manager in an agency that reports to the licensee would be considered an officer. The workplace health and safety sets out specific functions that a health and safety representative, HSR, can perform in the interests of the workers they represent. The powers and functions are intended to enable HSRs to effectively represent the interests of the members of their own work group and to contribute to workplace health and safety matters. The HSCs, or Health and Safety Committees, should be informed within 2 months of being requested to do so by a health and safety representative, or if 5 or more staff request this. HSCs represent the entire organisation and should meet regularly to ensure they are up to speed on all the latest developments. They can run for a fixed period or indefinitely. An example of risk and what control measures to be implemented. Use the hierarchy of control to manage risk and implement ways to find solutions for the management of risks effectively. The hierarchy of control should be used to check each level of risk. As you can see, the table next to us will evaluate all of those. Implement safety controls. Document procedures, produce training materials, brief staff on procedures, designate responsible roles, monitor safety controls, check weekly event reports, review any travel incidents. Staff feedback on safety controls. Discuss status and any issues at monthly staff meetings for each stage listed above. I will now take any questions.